Hello and welcome to Cheat Sheet at the World Cup with me, Matt Kabir-Floyd, on day one of the tournament. I'm here with your daily bite-sized breakdown of everything that's happening in America, Canada and Mexico, where the famous Azteca Stadium is preparing to host the opening match tonight. Yes, the World Cup is finally here. We'll look ahead to that in a moment, but first to England and their final warm-up match against Costa Rica. That almost didn't happen. Torrential rain delayed kickoff, but when it finally got underway, England were very comfortable 3-0 victors with goals from Declan Rice, Anthony Gordon and Ollie Watkins. Our man with the team in Florida is Rob Dorset, who I think has just about dried out enough to join us on Cheat Sheet. Rob, you're at the game. What do you think are the key takeaways for Thomas Tuchel then?
I think Thomas Tuchel's going to be absolutely delighted. He didn't mention this actually in his post-match news conference, but there were no apparent injuries, and that was the priority. Bear in mind, before the game, it was hammering it down with rain, the pitch was flooded, there was lightning in the area, and we had real concerns whether the game would go ahead at all. And then we started thinking, well, even if it does go ahead, is the pitch going to be really, really slippy? Is that bad for England? They might twist an ankle, get an injury before the World Cup in the final friendly. But the pitch drained really, really well, and Costa Rica were incredibly physical as well. So the fact that everybody came off with a clean bill of health, I think, is a big positive. But Tuchel said after the game that his big takeaway, his big positive, was England's energy levels. They were positive. They pressed high up the field. And bear in mind, that's what he criticised England for after the friendly against New Zealand on Saturday. I think he would be much, much happier about how England performed. Jude Bellingham did well. I think Noni Madueke will worry about that absolute sitter that he missed. As will Morgan Rogers with the sitter that he missed. And I think Jude Bellingham's probably just gone ahead of Morgan Rogers. Bellingham was outstanding again in the fight for that number 10 shirt. And Tuchel actually said after the game that Bellingham had worked really hard off the ball and impressed him a lot there. So, yeah, a lot for Thomas Tuchel to digest, but I think he'll be absolutely delighted.
Lots of positives for Tuchel. Did you manage to speak to any of the players?
Two really nice interviews after the game, actually, with Ollie Watkins and with Declan Rice. Watkins said that it was good to get off the mark, but he talked about the importance of the substitutes for England in this World Cup with the heat, with the a lot of travelling they've got to do as well. He thinks that the guys who come off the bench, and he'll probably be one of them, have got a massive role to play. So he was really chuffed that he got off the mark this summer with a goal. Declan Rice spoke really, really brilliantly, you have to say. He said he was really emotional with all that's happened in the end of Arsenal's season, winning the Premier League, getting that monkey off their back, losing the Champions League final. He said sitting at home for those extra few days off was a blessing and a curse. He desperately needed it, but he was also missing out on being out here with the lads. So he said he's in great physical shape, which will be good news for Tuchel because we've had some concerns about a knee problem and a back problem that he's been nursing with Arsenal. And he said he's never felt in as good shape and as positive and as confident as he comes to a major tournament like this. And it's that sort of thing that Thomas Tuchel will absolutely want to hear. In terms of what happens for England next now, well, they've still got a lot to do. There'll be a game later on today, behind closed doors, a training game against Miami FC. Expect the players who didn't play as many minutes here tonight against Costa Rica to get a bit more mileage in the legs. Then they're going to be given a day and a half off by Thomas Tuchel to go and see their families and relax, get out of the training ground completely before they fly to their main training base in Kansas City on Saturday. And one of the little quirk that I'll just mention to you as well, the World Cup starts today. The first game, of course, and England's players will be watching that, I'm sure, but there are 20 World Cup matches for them to watch before they get to play that opener against Croatia on June the 17th.
Cheers, Rob. Yeah, plenty of football to enjoy before England enter the fray at the World Cup. Before they do, Scotland face their opening fixture against Haiti on Sunday morning. Luke Shanley's been with the side all week at their training base in North Carolina, where he found a former teammate of Steve Clarke's at St Mirren. Tommy Wilson is Charlotte FC's technical director, and he's been telling Luke what Clarke was like to play with.
Just similar to he is now. I mean, I would say he hasn't changed that much. He was, I played right back, he played left back, and we both came. I came from Queen's Park, and Stevie came from Beath Juniors, and it wasn't expected that we would play, you know, the whole season together, which we did. He was quiet, determined, aggressive on the pitch, a winner. all the attributes that you see in him today.
In terms of back then, did you know he would go on? Did he have that kind of thought process of thinking about football, wanted to become a coach even back then, or was that a bit early?
I would say that was early. Stevie was a teenager then, and he was, he was pretty quiet. So it would be hard to say that both of us would go into coaching after we had finished our playing careers. Obviously, as his career progressed, you could see that, and he worked with some of the top coaches in the world. You could see that he had that in him. But I would say it was too early back then.
How impressed have you been with what he's been able to do with the Scotland national team? Because you've worked for the Scottish FA yourself and with the youth teams. Just what has he been able to do getting Scotland back to a World Cup?
Yeah, I think in my own experience with the youth teams, we got to the final of European Championships in 2006. Seems a lifetime ago now. But it's very, very difficult to get out your group and to get to the tournament. And for Stevie to do that 3 of the last 4 speaks volumes. It's unbelievably hard to achieve that.
Just finally, just how confident are you that Scotland can get out of this group?
Yeah, I mean, let's not underestimate any of the teams we're playing against. Our first team played Toronto recently, and the best player in the pitch was a Haitian. The left winger. So don't underestimate them. But I think we've got a great chance.
Well, there we go. We have to thank Charlotte FC because they've been great hosts here in North Carolina, and it's all about Scotland preparing now for that game against Haiti.
Cheers, Luke. Now, for more on Scotland's build-up, just check out our bonus cheat sheet with former striker Chris Boyd. Well worth a listen or watch. And this is, of course, the supersized World Cup, isn't it? The biggest tournament in its history. But it's not been without its controversies, from ticket prices to visas and the Iran war. So what has the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, made of it all so far? Kaveh Solokol was listening in to Infantino's pre-tournament press conference.
When you listen to Gianni Infantino at a news conference, it's like going to church. He's the preacher, and his religion is football. He seems to think that football can unite the world, bring everybody together. He uses these phrases which we hear over and over again on the rare occasions that he holds news conferences. This one he started off by making the incredible claim that this World Cup was going to be the biggest event in the history of mankind. There would be 6.5 million people watching the games inside the stadiums, and there would also be 6 billion people. I think that is 75% of the population of the world, according to Infantino, watching at home on TV. When it comes to the whole issue of ticket prices, the outrageous ticket prices, he said that demand had been unprecedented. He said attending a World Cup game was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he felt that the prices had been pitched at just the right level. He said more than 6 million tickets had already been sold, and all the money that FIFA was making would be kept in football. Every dollar we make, he said, goes back into football. He also said, again, I've heard him say this before, that if FIFA weren't charging these high prices, then what would happen is that people would snap up cheap tickets and then just sell them on the secondary market. That is what apparently people are used to doing in the United States. And he said the problem with that would be that people would profit from ticket sales, and the profits would go out of the game. It would go into the pockets of the people buying and selling these tickets, whereas what FIFA have done is make sure that all the money they make stays in the game. He also floated the idea that in the future FIFA may one day get into the pay TV business. He seemed to suggest that, for instance, if FIFA was to sell the rights, the broadcast rights for the World Cup, they could make, according to him, probably around $30 billion. Something perhaps to look out for in the future. On visas, the controversy surrounding visas, Infantino believes that the policies in place are generally working well. He had some sympathy for the Somalian referee who was refused entry to the United States. He said security has to come first. We're not kings of the world. We're just a sports organisation. We can't solve every single problem. And he said maybe people just need to chill and relax and leave it to FIFA to sort everything out behind the scenes. He also spoke about Iran, and he seems to have invested a lot of personal capital on making sure that the team representing the Islamic Republic of Iran play at this World Cup. Reading between the lines, I felt that he was trying to say that nobody else could have organised it so that Iran would be playing at this World Cup. He seemed to be trying to take a lot of the credit for himself. Regarding Iran, though, he did say that there would be more challenges regarding their participation in the coming days.
So the World Cup is finally here, and tonight, 8 p.m. our time, co-hosts Mexico face South Africa in the opening match of the 2026 tournament. Our reporter Jamie Weir joins me now to look ahead to that and a bit more as well. Before we get on to that first game, there was a significant friendly played last night involving Portugal. You were on Cristiano Ronaldo watch. How did he get on?
Not terribly well. Is the answer, to be honest with you, Floyd. As you know, a big debate in the build-up to this World Cup has been, would Portugal actually be better without Cristiano Ronaldo in their side? You know, they're such a young squad. Would they be able to press more and play on the front foot a bit more if they didn't have, you know, a 41-year-old up front who they're trying to just feed the ball to on all occasions? He missed 3 gilt-edged chances last night in Portugal's 2-1 win against Nigeria in their final World Cup warm-up match. Roberto Martinez then made 9 changes at half-time. The only 2 players he didn't bring off were the goalkeeper and
Cristiano Ronaldo.
So that tells you everything you need to know. Pedro Neto and Francisco Conceição were eventual goal scorers for them. But yeah, 3 clear-cut chances he missed. He did eventually come off after 65 minutes. He could, of course, become the first player to score at 6 different World Cups.
Wow.
And I think having seen Lionel Messi lift the World Cup 4 years ago, he's obviously desperate to do the same thing. And they've got a great squad, Portugal. But that question mark remains over whether they'd be better without him in the side. Only to the rest of the world, it would appear. I'm told inside Portugal, it's very much still, they still adore Cristiano Ronaldo. So we'll see what happens, but they've got such an impressive squad, Portugal, they could go a long way.
Yeah, I agree with that. It could well be dark horses, couldn't they? Right, before we get on to Mexico against South Africa, the game itself, we keep hearing this is the biggest World Cup ever. The opening ceremonies are always big occasions. Is this going to be a mega spectacle tonight?
Such a big World Cup that there's not just an opening ceremony. There's opening ceremonies. There's 3 different ones, exactly. So, a lot to live up to after Diana Ross and her missed penalty from USA 94. But, 3 separate opening ceremonies. So it starts tonight in Mexico, obviously. And the World Cup song, Die Die, will be performed by Shakira and Burna Boy at the Azteca Stadium. Salma Hayek is on ambassadorial duties, is what FIFA call it. And then Alejandro Fernandez is singing the national anthem before Mexico take on South Africa in that opening game. Then tomorrow night in Canada, before their opening match against Bosnia-Herzegovina, Michael Bublé is amongst the many performers at their opening ceremony. Comedian Will Arnett is the ambassador on that occasion. Alanis Morissette is performing O Canada, the national anthem of Canada, before they play Bosnia, as I say. And then the USA are the last of the 3 home nations to kick off their World Cup campaign. They're playing Paraguay at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Katy Perry amongst the performers in that one. Jason Sudeikis is the Ted Lasso, of course, the ambassador for that one. And Dan and Shay, who I'm told are a country duo, are performing.
Yeah, not familiar with them.
Not familiar with their work, but they're performing the Star Spangled Banner, so I'm sure the US crowd will know who they are. But lots to look forward to in the opening ceremony.
Very good.
I'm sure they're excellent.
How about Mexico then? Because actually there could be possible opponents for England in the last 16 in Mexico City.
Yeah.
Are they going to be a problem for any opponent in what I would presume will be a cauldron of an atmosphere wherever they play?
Yeah, exactly. At altitude as well in Mexico City. So yeah, the only, I suppose, problem for Mexico it will be the sheer weight of expectation on their shoulders from an expectant Mexican public. Their squad on paper, not that many household names. Santiago Jimenez from AC Milan, people may know. Edson Alvarez did, of course, play at West Ham. He's now in Fenerbahce. Obed Vargas plays for Atletico Madrid, young player. Raul Jimenez is probably the most recognisable face in their team, who is still their regular starter as well, and obviously now just returned to Wolves for next season as well. But yeah, look, the Mexican public, who are football mad, have been waiting for this World Cup for a long, long time. So huge expectation on them. Yes, you're right, they could well play England at Azteca Stadium in, is it the last 16, I think? But they will certainly be favourites tonight against South Africa in a repeat of the opening match, the 2010 World Cup. It's weird how that
in South Africa, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, the roles reversed. There are 2 games tonight. The other 2 in Group A also in action. That's in Guadalajara, 3 a.m. UK time. So,
committed if
you'll
you're
do well if
that
you
one.
stay up for that one. South Korea against Czech Republic. What can we expect from that?
Yeah, again, South Korea sailed through qualifying for this World Cup. Strongest team in Asia, as they often are, unlike the Czech Republic, who this is actually the first World Cup since 2006, Czech Republic. I was surprised at that. They're sort of perennially at the Euros, but they've missed out in the last few World Cups. So again, a few names that we will be familiar with. Thomas Souček, probably the most famous player on their side, West Ham regular. Vladimir Sufal, who used to be at West Ham, is now playing in Germany at Hoffenheim. And Patrick Schick, their striker, who also plays in Germany for Leverkusen. So those are the sort of familiar names on the Czech side. I think South Korea will be favourites for this one as well, though. Lee Kang-in, who's fresh off winning the Champions League with Paris Saint-Germain. Kim Min-jae, the big man mountain of a centre-half who plays for Bayern Munich. And, of course, the main man himself, Sonny, Sung Hyun-min, still captain of the side, and now playing out his football, obviously out in the States as well, and still such a popular character here in this country, especially with Spurs fans like me. So I'll be rooting on Sonny to do well in that one. But yeah, it's very committed if you're staying up till 3 a.m. in the morning to watch South Korea versus Czech Republic. But it all starts now. It's exciting, isn't it? It's finally here. After all the chat, all the build-up.
Can't wait for the first whistle. It's going to be brilliant, isn't it? Cheers, Jamie. If you're not able to stay up for those early morning games or want to catch up on all the news you might have missed overnight, then check out tomorrow morning's cheat sheet at the World Cup, available on all podcast platforms, or you can watch us on YouTube or through your Sky TV. You can also follow the World Cup with the Sky Sports app. From live match blogs to features and analysis, plenty to get into there. Plus, of course, we are live every day on Sky Sports News. That is it for now. Enjoy the football and, of course, the razzmatazz. We'll see you again tomorrow.